the last 18 months of administration led by the advising panel and of course the chief advisor Muhammad Yunus. Of course, the many important deals that he has done in his time, the port deal with UAE, of course, DP World, whose chairman was implicated in the Epstein files, if not, and of course,
he has
the metric of
chairman.
He has resigned as chairman. So I want to understand from the very last comments from Advocate Mohsin Rashid, what is your observation in the last 18 months? Has Bangladesh been held high and been successful? What is your comments?
The administration of Yunus was a disaster, complete and total disaster, and you can feel that disaster on the streets of Bangladesh. You see, just go out 100 times more. You have these auto rickshaws and others where traffic movement has come to a halt, more or less. Traffic cannot move. And you know, the king of Bhutan told me that if you want to see whether there is any rule of law in a country, just look at the traffic. We are having tea together, and this is what I was told. And very right, look. You have got about 5-10 lakh autos on the streets. You can't move. I mean, it's terrible. Number one. Number two, this was the most corrupt government. What they have done in 18 months, if you average out Sheikh Hasina's corruption, this would exceed that. Now, I'll tell you why I am saying this. What was the necessity for this departing government to go for this deal when elections were on the card? What was the necessity to have another 17 Boeings purchased? This could have waited.
Of course.
If we have made a commitment, it could have waited. Even the trade deal signed could have waited for a few weeks till this new government, elected government, had come in.
But they hurried it up.
They hurried it up because commission was coming from these deals, you know, and all of the LNG. Lamia's, Murshid's husband is involved in LNG transactions. You see, Yunus himself has taken university, he has taken digital wallet. I mean, I've never heard a head of government or head of state doing such things.
Of course, they should be responsible for the things they have done.
And he should be accountable for all this. Not, I just mentioned two. There's so many other things like the tax that was imposed on his companies, those have gone, you know. So, these people should not be allowed to leave this country. They should be held accountable, and they should be held accountable by this government. You see, because this government, Bangladesh, cannot rescind any agreement. They cannot tell the American administration that we want to relook into this. They do not have that kind of a power or courage to do it. As a matter of fact, nobody has to tell the Americans that we want to. Similarly, they can't go and tell the Boeing company that, no, listen, I even don't have place in my airport to park these extra.
There is no visual hangar that will park all of these planes.
And you can't even park these 17 Boeings on the tarmac. Those of us who have been going through the airport process, we know that there's no space to park these huge double aisle aircrafts on the tarmac. You know, they have hurried things up, you know, because they knew they were leaving. And Bangladesh was saved by the army. Whatever elections you have seen, it's not a delivery that has been given to us by Yunus's government. This is something that has been delivered to us by the army, because the security cover that they had provided, about 7-8 lakh security people were on the ground providing this cover. Army, Navy, Air Force, village, Ansar,
Village Defense Forces, the
RAB,
VDP, right?
Yeah, all of them. And this is why people had they were very confident that yes, we can go out now and we can vote. But the other thing is that the government engineered with the voting also. Like the percentage that they have announced is not the percentage which has been there. And that is why you see a conflict between the yes, no and the actual voting of candidates, you see. So, this is a problem, and this, what you call this referendum thing, NCP signed it yesterday evening. July 25 thing was more for them than for anybody else. And they never signed it. I mean, they have signed it after the referendum. After the referendum was held, they went yesterday, I think, and signed it in the office of the. This is a fraud. This government was a total fraud, total failure. They let this country down.
Of course, I appreciate.
Had it not been for the army and the armed forces, even they did not have good connections with the armed forces. He brought in NGOs to run this country. He took away this, they brought down the photographs of the president from every. He is the sovereign. He represents the sovereignty. You cannot take down his photographs. They took it down just because Rizwana wanted this to happen. They took away the entire press team of the president. Even when credentials were being presented, had army ISPR not given him this extra coverage, then they could not even have photographed them. You see, this is what they have done. They had the least respect for the Constitution, having taken oath on the Constitution. This is what the interim government was.
Of course, much respect to you, Advocate Mohsin Rashid, for your valuable insight and analogy and observations what we have faced over the last 18 months. I also want to thank our Pakistan correspondent Muhammad Musab, as well as a correspondent from DC, Norman Floyd Barnes, on joining us with their valuable contributions and insight on this program. I want to conclude in a happy tone and also a message of a very worrying message. July of 2025, the country was in transition. February of 2026, the country is still in transition. And of course, it is a Chinese New Year being celebrated with multiple countries worldwide.
Year of the horse.
Year of the horse,
yeah.
Which is important to know how the prosperity shall be shared amongst generations and amongst the society.